Welcome to Christian Trivia, and today we're going to be talking about biblical characters. So, let's see how well you pay attention to the scriptures. Make sure you share this video with a friend and see who can get the highest score. Name this character. This was a friend and supporter of Jesus who died of an illness. This is the only time in the Bible where we actually see Jesus weeping. Last hint, he didn't stay dead. Actually, Jesus raised him from the dead. And of course, the correct answer is Lazarus. This was a great friend of Jesus who not only was he friends with Lazarus, but also his sisters, Mary and Martha. This couple made a big mistake in the early church, and it cost them their lives. Everyone was meant to sell what they had and support the church in the early days, and yet this couple, they didn't quite do that. If you said Ananias and SAPPHIRA, then you were correct. Selling a plot of land, they kept a portion of it behind for themselves, and then they lied to the apostles about it. Because of this, they both fell down dead immediately. Who were the two brothers that were in the innermost circle with Jesus? We have a few different names for them, but just as a hint, what comes after the lightning? And if you said James and John, then you'd be correct. These two were some of the closest friends of Jesus during his time here on earth. Also called the Sons of Thunder, these two were an amazing, passionate duo for the work of the gospel. Who was the woman who requested John the Baptist's head on a platter? We are actually looking for her name here, not just who she was and who she was related to, though she is royalty. And if you guessed Salome, you'd be correct. Now, if you watch The Chosen, you may be slightly confused because James and John's mother's name in that show is also Salome, but there aren't that many Jewish names, so they'd be repeated quite a few times. This is the first Christian martyr, stoned to death in Jerusalem. He was not part of the original 12 disciples, but he did become a big supporter of Jesus and the ministry. And if you answered Stephen, then you'd be correct. Stephen is one of the most famous Christian martyrs, obviously being the first. He was stoned to death for allegedly speaking against the law of Moses and the temple. Who was the first disciple to meet and be called by Jesus? Both him and his brother were called to follow Jesus, but this was the first person to meet Jesus. And if you said Andrew, then you'd be correct. Even though him and his brother Simon were called at the same time, Andrew seems to have met Jesus first and come back and told Simon Peter about it. This apostle was chosen after Judas decided to betray Jesus and then committed suicide. Lots were drawn to see which apostle would be nominated after Judas's betrayal. And eventually they landed on someone who we call Matthias. Not much is known about Matthias at all. We only see him in 2 verses in the New Testament. And all we know is that he became an apostle and that he met the criteria that Peter put forward. This Pharisee was vehemently against Christians before being blinded on the road to Damascus. Born as a Roman citizen, he had a little bit more privilege than the rest of the Jewish people. And the answer here is Saul. But if you said Paul, I'll give that to you as well. Saul was a Pharisee who persecuted Christians, even to the point of killing them, and then was encountered by Jesus on the road to Damascus, changing his life forever, and ours. Paul went on to write most of the New Testament, and many of the books that we read today are from him. Many people believe that this New Testament writer was a brother of Jesus. His writings are short, very to the point, black and white, and yet very impactful. There are a few books that are contended to have been written by brothers of Jesus, but this one in particular is one of my favorite books, the book of James. And here's your last question. Who was this friend and partner of Paul who went on ministry missions with him? Though we know Paul had many ministry partners, this is the most prominent one. Some people believe that he acted as a gateway to Jerusalem so that Paul would not have been despised by the Christians there. And the answer is Barnabas. This is one of the most prominent figures that Paul works with throughout his ministry journeys. I hope you like this trivia. Make sure to check out this other one we did all about the Chosen series. I'm sure you'll love those as well. As always, let us know in the comments below what your score was. If you score high enough, who knows? Maybe we'll invite you onto a live stream to do a live trivia session. See you on the next one.